Hey, what's up guys, Jared here, and today we're going to be looking into how to use Stripe inside of our iOS application. Today's going to be part one, super simple. We're just going to go ahead and see how we can grab a key for a customer so that they can start putting in their credit card information and also their shipping information. All of the stuff that I'm showing you today is something that I'm using inside of my own application tag. Check it out on the App Store. But it's an upcoming feature that I added in there where you'll be able to purchase right inside of the application. So this is exactly how I started getting things set up, and that's what we're going to learn today. We're going to be using Heroku as our backend, so you need to know a little bit of Node.js, but overall you'll be able to just do this from scratch. So let's just jump right into it. But first, a message from our sponsor. The MadGiga K400 fully mechanical keyboard. It has a very gamer-esque design, Rgb backlighting, also a very nice build quality. Utemu blue switches, so you get a very tactile feel, and it actually shows, so when you're typing on it, it's pretty loud. I'll give you a test right now. After using an Apple keyboard for the longest time, I never really realized how cramped my hands would get after typing on it, and this solves that problem for me. You also have cool RGB backlighting, so if you ever are working late night, it's fun to turn it on. And they also have a lot of different modes that you can cycle through. My favorite one is the pulse, so when you click on a button, it just like spreads out the light. It's pretty sweet. But anyway, there's a whole lot more to this keyboard. I'll leave more information in the description down below, as well as a link to buy it if you're interested. Anyway, back to the video. And of course, you need to have a Stripe account. So if you haven't already, go to Stripe, sign up for one, and then this will be your first thing that you see right now. You're gonna go ahead and activate your account. So tell us about your business, everything here that you see. Verify that you are the company representative. And then of course you need to have your banking information. So go ahead, plug that all into Stripe and come back. Alright, and now that you have your Stripe account created, the next thing to do is just go ahead, head over here to API, and as you can see, we have a publishable key and a secret key. Publishable key is going to be what's inside of our application, and then secret key is what's going to be on our backend. You want to keep your secret key as secret as possible. Like, you don't want anyone having it, because if someone does get a hold of it, they can actually start taking funds from your Stripe account, and they can start making payments and other things like that. Anyway, they have full control over your Stripe account essentially, so keep it secret, which is exactly why I'm showing it to all of you right now. Just messing. This whole project is going to be deleted soon enough. Alright, and now that we have our keys, let's head over here to the GitHub page for Stripe iOS. It'll be linked in the description down below, but it's github.com/stripe/stripe-ios. But basically with this project here, it's everything that you need to get up and running with an iOS project. There's a lot of things that if I were to go over it in a video, this series would be terribly long, so this just speeds up the whole process, and it's actually very useful because I actually am using this integration inside of my actual iOS application. You can just tweak it a little bit. So it's actually super useful, and it's functional, and you can put it inside of your own application. So that's what we're going to do. So right here, you're just going to go ahead and say clone or download, and download zip. Then once that's downloaded, you're going to go ahead and open up that project that you see here. And inside of here, you have examples. And then inside of here, you have standard integration, Swift, and basically all we're wanting from here is just these files. So we have the app delegate, all of this stuff. We just want to take all of those files, and so these files right here are actually all we're looking for when we downloaded this file. So we're going to take these files, and now let's head over here to Xcode, create a new Xcode project, and we're just going to start this from scratch. So single view application, go ahead, click next. For your product name here, go ahead, call it whatever you want, and then for the language here, this is of course going to be Swift. Now let's head over here, click next, and create. And now that we have this project created, let's go ahead and create a group real quick. So new group, and this one's just going to go ahead and call this Stripe. And then for our app delegate here, we're just going to go ahead and delete that file completely. Then we're going to take all these files right here except the app.delegate.swift, and we're going to just drag and drop that right into the Stripe file, the Stripe group that we just created. And then go ahead, click finish, and boom, there you have it. Those are all the files that we need. Now the next thing we need to do is I just deleted my own app delegate, so I'm going to take this app delegate and just drag that right in there. Copy items if needed. I should have said that for the last one, make sure copy items if needed is selected. Then go ahead and say finish. And now we have this whole project that if we look at our app.delegate.swift right now, you'll be able to see that first off, we don't have Stripe imported, so we need to do that in just a minute with CocoaPods or Carthage, whatever you use. And then inside of here, you can see that application did finish launching with options. All we're doing here is we're going to go ahead and make our root view controller, or the first view controller that loads up, equal to our browse product view controller. This is something that they already set up for us. It's basically a table view with a bunch of random emojis, and those random emojis have a certain price. Now, one thing to note here is the prices right here are all done in like pennies, essentially. So you just have 2,000, that's $20. Or 4,000, that's $40, and so on and so forth. So in working with Stripe, it's very important to notice this. So if you're going to price something, you just need to go ahead and take the penny value of it and use that as your price. It will not work if you say 20.00 or anything like that. Just 2,000. There you have it. So now that we have everything imported here to get our project up and running, all we need to do is import Stripe now. So we're going to head over here, head over to terminal, and we're going to say ls to see where we are, cd to go to a directory. So I'm going to go ahead. Mine is stored on the desktop, so that's where I'm going to go. But you go wherever your project file is. Then we say cd, let's go ahead and, why did I type such a hard name? cd that ls, and then now we can just say pod init. So now after pod init is done, you should be able to open up your project now, and as you can see, the pod file has been added in there. And basically what a pod file is you're going to go ahead and import a certain pod, and that pod today is going to be Stripe. And now to install Stripe properly into our project, all we're going to do is go ahead, open up the pod file itself, and just delete everything except for use frameworks, and of course the target and end. And then inside of here, I just want to say pod open close apostrophe, and then we're just going to say Stripe. So it's going to go ahead and install Stripe as a pod. Now let's go ahead and hit Command S to save that. Close out of it, head back over here to terminal and just say pod install. And then now that should install Stripe, as you can see right there, and generate a workspace for you to work in. So we have now our XC workspace. Go ahead and close out of your Xcode project if you haven't already. And now just you're going to be working in this workspace from now on. And then boom, here we have it, our Xcode workspace. Now we have inside of our pods right here, we have our pods, and of course we have Stripe installed, and you can see all the files that come along with it. There's a whole lot more to Stripe than what I'm showing you in this video, so if you want more, let me know with a comment below or a like. And of course, we forgot something. So inside of our My API client right here, I forgot to import Alamo file. So what we need to do is head back over here to our pod file. And then of course we're just going to go ahead, head over here to the pods and just say Alamo fire, like so. Hit Command S to save that, go back over here and say pod install. And then now that should install Alamo fire. Now the reason we need Alamo fire is back over here in our project, you can see alamofire.request URL method post. So when we create our backend, what we're doing is posting to that backend and trying to get something in return. So that is exactly why we need Alamo fire. It just makes the whole process really simple and it works together nicely. So let's go ahead and continue on. So now that we have Alamo fire imported, let's go ahead, build and run this, and let's see if we have any issues. And it looks like we have one issue. It's the Swift language version issue. In order to fix this, all you do is go over here to build settings and then just start searching for Swift language. And you can see Swift language version is unspecified. Just go ahead and switch that to Swift 3, build and run this, and we should be all good to go. And it looks like we were able to build and run this, but I meant to run this in a simulator, so let's do that. Now our project has built and ran, and as you can see, this is the browse view controller that is loading up. So if you look in here, you can see browse products view controller. This is all of the stuff that you can buy, just random emojis and such. And now if you want to buy something, all you have to do is click on it. And what this is going to do is actually take you over here to your checkout view controller here. Now, something to note here is, one, it doesn't have a Stripe publishable key inside of here. So let's go ahead and do that. All you need to do is go ahead, head over here to your dashboard, get the API, and just grab that publishable key. And now head up here, and you can see step 1, just go ahead, put in your publishable key. And now that we have that Stripe publishable key, this still will not work. What we need to do now is get the backend base URL. As you can see, we assert these both of these things as we're heading over here to our checkout view controller. So we have assert backend base URL, and now we need to grab our base URL. Now what we're going to be using for our base URL is of course Heroku. Now if you don't have a Heroku already, all you need to do is head over here to heroku.com, link in the description down below. and then sign up for your own account. And then we're going to be using Node.js for our starter project, but if you have a different language in mind, go ahead and use that. Now, getting started with Heroku is pretty dead simple. They actually have really clear documentation, so if you want to go to their getting started on Heroku with Node.js, you can go ahead and do that, or whatever programming language you're going to be using for your backend. But basically, you just go ahead and say, I'm ready to start. You go through the setup process, log in. Another thing to note, if you're using Node.js, you need to be on the latest version of NPM. It'll walk you through that process if you don't already have that started. But basically, to get started, you would go ahead, download the Heroku CLI for this, and then we're going to go over here to terminal. And inside of here, we're just going to say Heroku login. And then now once you're logged in, you're going to head over here to prepare the app, in which you're just going to go ahead and take this git clone Heroku getting started guide. We're going to go ahead and copy all of that, except for the $, of course. Copy that, and then just paste that right in there. And that's going to go ahead and clone into here your Node.js getting started guide that they have for Heroku. It's a very simple getting started project, but it's perfect for what we're going to be doing. So now we want to go ahead and navigate into that started project. So I'm going to say ls to see where we are, cd, and then you're just going to go into the directory of the node.js getting started. And then now once you're inside of this, you can just go ahead ls to see exactly what's inside of here. And now once you're inside of here, let's go ahead and open up our index.js to see exactly what they have in there. And here's what we have inside of our index.js. Now all we need to do is go ahead and delete this part right here, app.get. We're just going to delete that, but we want to keep everything else, the listen, everything else we want to keep. Now the other thing we need to do is go ahead and install Stripe and Body Parser. Those are two very important frameworks that we need to put into here. So the way that we do that is I'm going to say var my Stripe will be equal to require, open close parentheses. Inside of here, we're just going to go ahead and put in Stripe. And then after this, do the same thing, open close parentheses. And inside of here, I want to put in my secret key. Of course, the way that we do that is head over here to Stripe, get our secret key, reveal it, go ahead and grab it. And now head back over here to your project, and now you should just plunk that right in there. And then of course, semicolon at the end. Then after this, I'm going to say var my body parser will be equal to require, and then this one's going to be body dash parser. This is going to be very helpful because when we do retrieve information from Stripe, we need something to break that apart, and that is what body parser does. Now, in order to install all of this stuff, all we're going to say is npm install. And then that's only going to install npm. Now we need to say npm install, and then we're going to do the various frameworks. So I'm going to go ahead and say we need to install Express, separate everything just by a space, and you should be good to go. So npm install Express, Stripe, and then body dash parser. Like so. Hit enter, and then that's going to go through and install everything that we need. And also, if we head over here to our package.json, which is right over here, you'll also be able to see that those have now been installed inside of our dependencies. Make sure that they are in the dependencies, because if they're not, then they won't really be attached to your product. So that's something to make sure of. But anyway, we have those installed, so now I can hit Command S to save that. And now to update to Heroku, all you need to say is git add dot git commit -m demo, and then as you can see, 3 files changed, 57 insertions, 73 deletions. You'll probably have more than that because I've been testing, but then we just go ahead and say git push Heroku master, like so. And now that's going to go ahead and take our files and push it up to the cloud to Heroku. So let's go ahead and let's check out our Heroku logs, see if there's any errors that come through. So we head over here, head to Intense Castle, and then hit more, view logs, and this is where you're going to see everything. So my build has started, and you'll be able to see if there's an error or not. And once you see the state change from starting to up, that's when you know your project is good, and as long as it does, and it should show you if there is any errors, if there is any, but I think we're all good to go. So now the next thing I want to do is use Stripe. Now inside of our index.js, the main thing that we're trying to do here is if we head over here to my API client, you'll be able to see that we have these different functions. And these different functions right here, create customer key is our main one at the moment. We're going to go ahead and try creating an ephemeral key. And this ephemeral key is basically we have a customer and that's the key attached to the customer, and we can start using that key to basically charge his credit card or get his shipping information and other things like that. That is what the ephemeral key is. Now with our ephemeral key right here, what we're trying to do is use Alamo Fire to post to a certain URL. So this URL that we're going to be using is of course our base URL, which we put into our checkout view controller right here. You'll see that. And then we're just attaching ephemeral keys at the end of that. So what we're going to do inside of our project here is say app.post. So we're getting a post request, open parentheses. In this, we're just going to go ahead and put in the URL. So this is /ephemeral keys _keys. Then after the apostrophe right there, we're just going to go ahead and hit comma. And inside of this, we want a request and a response. And then we're just going to say equals alligator, like so. And then we're going to say open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and then of course add a semicolon at the end of that. Then inside of here, what I want to do is grab certain information from our request. So the way that we do that is we have in here an API version that was being called when we create a customer key. But we also want to have a specific customer that we're referencing. So the way that we create a customer is pretty simple. All you need to do is head over here into your dashboard in Stripe, go to customers. Typically, I'll say this right now, typically you would go ahead and create the customer all programmatically via Heroku and whatnot. We'll work on that another day, I think, but for now, we're just going to use a customer that you build inside of Stripe itself. So all you would do is you would say new, and then you put in their email and description. I already have mine, so this is going to be my customer ID right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that customer ID, head back over here, and then now when I'm uploading this, I'm just going to say customer _ ID colon, and then now I'm going to plunk in that customer ID that I just grabbed. And then make sure that quotation marks are around that, and I think we're all good to go. And of course, one thing to add is API version, make sure there's a comma after that because it's a list. Now, the next thing we need to do is grab those variables that we're grabbing. So I'm going to say var my customer ID will be equal to my request.body and then inside of this is just going to be customer _ ID. Make sure it is the exact same thing that you do here. Then we also need the API version. And of course, make sure there's a semicolon. Then we also need the API version. So I'm going to say var my API _ version will be equal to request.body and then this is of course going to be API _ version. Hit semicolon, and there you go. Now finally, the last thing that we're going to get done is actually create an ephemeral key and do stuff with that. So we're going to say stripe.ephemeral keys.create. Open parentheses, open curly bracket, close curly bracket, everything like so. Now for this first curly bracket right here, we want to go ahead and provide it with our customer ID. So I'm going to go ahead and put in that customer ID. So customer colon, and then this is going to be my customer ID, like so. Then you're going to close out those curly brackets like so, hit comma, open close curly brackets again. And then inside of here, I'm going to say my stripe _ version colon, and then this is going to be my API _ version, like so. Then after this, we want to go ahead and close up those parentheses, then open parentheses, and inside of here, we're going to go ahead and put in key. So if all went smoothly, we created that key. Open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and then we'll do stuff in there later on. But then we also want to have a catch. So if there's an error, we want to be able to catch that error. And of course, make sure there's 2 parentheses. And then we want to have the equals, again, open curly bracket, close curly bracket. And then we want to close those all off like so. And then I have these extra curly bracket and parentheses at the end there, so just go ahead and delete those. But there we have it. So we have stripe, ephemeral, create. We're creating everything, and then if something goes right, then we have this key that we're going to pass back to our application, and then we have a catch in which we're pass along an error if there is an error. So in order to pass back something, we need to say res.status, and then the correct status is 200, and then we'll say .send, in which we're going to send our key. So we'll send key, like so. Then for our error here, I'm going to say res.status, open close parentheses, and here we're going to say 500.end, open close parentheses, like so. Now let's go ahead and hit and save that, and we should be able to return our ephemeral keys when we build and run this. So let's say git add.git commit -m demo, and then git push Heroku master, like so. So that's going to take those files, upload it to Heroku, and let's see if we have any errors popping our way or not. And of course we want to build and run Xcode again because we now have that customer ID included. So now it looks like everything is done uploading to Heroku. So if we click on this dress here, so it looks like we're still getting this status code of 500. At least we're going through the motions, but we are getting a status code of 500 right now. And the main issue is, one, it cannot detect that there is a body with a customer ID and API version. So we need to go ahead and solve that. And then also I misspelt, I said striped ephemeral keys. I'm sure you guys noticed that. So that's one of the things that I had to change right there. So ephemeral keys.create, make sure that that's in there. But also up here, I want to say app.use, and then inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and use my body parser, and then .json, open, close parentheses, and then we'll just close that off with the semicolon there. And then also something we need to add right under here, underneath our body parser.json, we need to say app.use, and this is actually going to be body parser .url encoded, all lowercase, encoded, open curly bracket, open parentheses, open curly bracket, and then just go ahead and in there. And then inside of here, I'm just going to say extended colon, and we're going to set that equal to true. And that's everything you need. Go ahead, add a semicolon at the end of that, hit Command S to save that, head over here to terminal, and just upload this to Heroku. And here we are. So now let's head over here to our application, click on it, and boom, select payment. You'll be able to go in here, put in all your information that you need to, add a card, shipping information. You can go ahead and add all of your shipping information. And the cool thing about this is that information will be then taken once we charge them. It'll be taken and uploaded to the customer that we have. So the payments, everything, when they come back, all of that information will be saved. But first, before all of that works, we need to get our charge done, so that will be in the next part. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what else you would like to see from the Stripe series. And of course, thank you all so much for watching. You guys are incredible. Thank you for the support on Tag recently. That was amazing. Tags are at about like 800 downloads right now, which is pretty great for an open beta. We haven't even started marketing or anything, so it's great for an open beta. It gave us a great starting point. But we have a whole lot more that we're going to do with the application, and I'm super excited for this. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and have yourselves an amazing day. Bye.